the being in the cells.
No,
It's not about. No. I'm speaking.
we're-
No, I'm speaking.
we're both-
No, I'm
we're both
speaking.
clumps
No,
of
I'm
cells.
speaking. No,
We're
I'm
both
speaking.
clumps
No,
of
I'm
cells,
speaking. No,
okay?
I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking.
Want to say it one more time?
No, I'm speaking.
Got it.
Thank you. So it's not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
I
the
know you
person.
don't care about them.
No. I'm talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The New Nation. This is me, your host, Mike. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Please, before we get into today's video, I would like to remind you all to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I want as many people to see this video that I'm making for you. And the more people that can watch it, the more views I get. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. Let's get directly into this video. So, if you don't follow Jubilee, what Jubilee is it's a YouTube channel where they get people with different ideologies, people with different opinions, different points of views, different, ways of life. They bring them together and they have them discuss different issues and whether they agree or disagree or agree to disagree. Now, they do this with one show in particular called Middle Ground, which I was on an episode of Middle Ground. Look, here's me. Here's me saying I don't care about studies.
Because I'm just not.
It's because you didn't have it.
Yeah, but do you feel like you're missing something, or you're not missing having two dads because you didn't have it?
Well, no, that's not what we're talking about. Because what happened? No. Because what happens is
You're missing out then.
what? Because I don't have two dads.
I hear
Like,
yes,
what is that?
ma'am, but I hear
No. Hold on. Because we all know, you know this, and I know this. There's this bond that a mother and child have that nobody can replace. I don't care if it's another dad. I don't care if it's aunt. I don't care if it's a grandmother.
Wrong. There was a study
Hold
done
on one second.
showing that
I don't
the
care about-
fathers
I don't
form
care
the
about
same
studies.
biological
Studies mean nothing to
connection.
me. Studies mean nothing to me.
I want to hear him out. I want to hear this guy out right here.
Now that we've gotten that out of the way, Jubilee also heavily edits these videos. I had stuff that I said in that video that was edited out and removed. That episode was conservative parents versus queer teens and conservative teens. And it was excuse my language, but it was a shit show. The reason why I wanted to do a video about this particular topic is because I wanted to show that the liberal progressive women of Gen Z love murder. They love making excuses for murder. They love murder. They love abortion. Now, to preface this video is about Charlie Kirk, surrounded by, I think it is, I can't remember if it's 25 or 12 or however many different progressives. So the idea for this video is that Charlie Kirk has points that he wants to make, different prompts, I guess. The first prompt and the prompt that we're going to be talking about in this video is abortion is murder and should be illegal. But he has other prompts such as college is a scam, or the economy was better under Trump, things like that. But the one that is important is the abortion is murder and should be illegal. So why don't we just get into this? Because I just want to show you how much, I just want to show you how poorly educated people are when it comes to abortion. And then I also wanted to explain why Gen Z women, or girls, I should say, who knows, love abortion so much. So let's get right into it. Here we go. And I should also say that the premise of the way people can talk is kind of dumb. They're all surrounding him, and on 1, 2, 3, go, they all have to get up and rush a chair, and whoever sits in the chair gets to talk. I don't really like that. It's kind of chaotic. The best way to do it is just someone should raise his or her hand, and Charlie or whoever is surrounded should be able to pick someone out to bring him or her up to speak. But let's get into it. You can see how kind of weird it is.
All right.
Can I maybe?
Okay. Hello. What's your name?
Juliana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Can
you.
we get our terms right first?
Yeah.
Okay. Abortion is the forcible ending of the viability of a being in utero, otherwise known as a fetus. Do we agree that's what abortion is?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then murder is the intentional taking of life, different than killing or sudden death. So murder would be the intent taking another life. Do we agree with that?
Okay.
I don't like that. I don't like that definition. I don't like the definition that he used for murder. The definition of murder that I like is the premeditated and unjust killing of an innocent, right? Because it's different than killing. You're in a war, you're killing. Killing could mean self-defense, in defense of yourself or in defense of somebody else. Killing can be used in a war where there are two agreeing parties who are fighting each other, and killing happens. But with murder, murder is premeditated and it's intentional, right? The premeditated and unjustified. It's premeditated, it's intentional, and it's unjustified. You going out and strangling somebody just for thrills, or you going out robbing a store and shooting the store clerk. It's premeditated, it's unjustified. Right now, there are certain crimes of passion, but that doesn't necessarily indicate any justification of the crime. But let's keep going.
Okay, and then we agree that murder in general in society should be illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, no, I do want to preface that I'm a Catholic. So
This should be red flag. I do want to preface that I'm a Catholic. ... If any of the sentences out of her mouth in the next couple of words or sentences has anything to do with the supporting of abortion, then she should not be saying that she is a Catholic.
I think one really important thing that the Bible says is to not judge. And
No, the Bible says the Bible does not say do not judge. Right. So in the Gospel of Matthew, Christ's own words were, judge not that you not be judged. And I think most people will stop there with clear conviction that the Bible teaches that we are not to pass any form of judgment on others. But if we look closer, and this is Matthew 7, verses 1 through 5, it continues, judge not that you be not judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye when there's the log in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eyes. And if we break this passage down line by line, it becomes clear that Jesus was not telling his disciples they could never judge the behaviors of others. Rather, he was cautioning them to live righteous lives themselves so that their judgment of others' behaviors would not be rash judgments, and that their efforts in admonishing their neighbors would be effective. But let's get back to this video here.
just going back to the topic, I think there's a big difference between, cells in utero than a living, breathing, existing being. And while I do believe it's murder, and that's just my personal belief, right? I don't believe in telling people what to do with their bodies. That's not up to me, and it's not up to us as well as Christians to judge.
We are going to probably circumvent Charlie's responses because we pretty much know how he's going to respond. What I'm going to do is going to respond in Charlie's stead. So what she's saying here is that she believes that they're just cells in utero, which is so absolutely ridiculous because we are all just, to use the common phrase, clumps of cells, just at different levels of development and location. And she says she even thinks that it is murder, but that we shouldn't be able to tell other people what to do. So it's very weird because in any normal conversation, we could say, hey, yeah, we shouldn't allow people to murder other people. We shouldn't allow people to steal things. We shouldn't allow people to deface property. We shouldn't allow people to take advantage of each other. But for whatever reason, when it comes to babies in the womb, it's like, hey, hold on now. We shouldn't tell women what to do with their bodies, where she just clearly admitted that it is murder. So it's like they make the excuses, they do the coping in order to excuse the murdering of babies in the womb. Let's get to the people who are in the thumbnail here, because I think it's very important that we look at these people, because this is where it starts to get bad.
Okay, what's your name?
Naima.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, can I just ask?
First of all, if you think that you should be involved in a conversation with anybody who looks like this, it's just best to cut your losses. Just kind of don't even waste your time, because you know that you're going to be in for a real roller coaster with this one.
At how many weeks do you think that a fetus is viable?
Well, viability and moral worth are two different things.
No, but I'm asking you, at how many weeks do you think
at about
a fetus
20
is viable?
weeks, a baby can survive outside of utero.
So it's actually 24 to 26
Well, it's
weeks?
20. The youngest ever in a NICU unit actually happened in San Diego, not far from here, and survived at 20 weeks.
Okay, so under Roe v. Wade, 93% of abortions happened in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. That's 93% of the abortions happened well before a fetus is technically viable
For
as
sure.
a form
so
of life.
Let's go in.
It doesn't even matter. The viability issue is absolutely ridiculous. All you have to say is, do you agree that the fetus, the embryo, the baby in the womb is a human person? Yes or no? You do agree. Okay. Is it wrong to unjustly and premeditatively murder or end that person's life? Yes or no? That's it. Viability, personhood, you get into the weeds with these people. It's very, very simple.
Into viability. So what is it about, let's say, a 6-week baby that has a heartbeat, its own DNA, fingerprint, brain waves, that is less moral worth than an 88-year-old right now with dementia in a home down the street? That person requires assistance, requires help. Why is it that the 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
Well, first of all, it's not a baby, it's a fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the f? I'm sorry, is this
It
a
means
language class?
little human being.
Ugh, the smile is very creepy. Okay,
That's the funniest thing and probably the only correct thing that she said in this video.
Smiling is creepy.
no, your smile specifically.
Got it,
But
thank you.
let's go
So-
back to
So what they can do is they can't answer direct questions, and instead they'll insult you to your face, which is fine. She made a funny little quip, but it doesn't add anything to her argument, right? It doesn't matter what type of language that we use. What matters is the definitions. Is the baby in the womb a human person? Yes or no? Doesn't matter if you want to call it an embryo. Doesn't matter at what stage of development that person is in. Is it a human, living, growing being? Yes or no?
we're losing track here.
No, but is what species is the fetus?
The fetus is not a species yet. It's technically classified
No,
as
no,
a parasite
no.
until it
Oh,
is
wow.
viable.
So
now I want to
what-
talk.
The whole parasite argument is absolutely ridiculous because a parasite, what a parasite does is it is something that I guess uses the resources of its host to the detriment of its host, right? That's what a parasite does. You don't have a parasite and end up becoming more healthy, or you don't have a parasite without negative effects. So a fetus or a baby in the womb doesn't really classify as a parasite because it's using the resources in the environment that it was meant to be in. A parasite is this foreign object that enters the body somehow, or that feeds off of the physical surface of the body, like a leech or something like that, to the detriment of the host, right? So a baby isn't causing harm intentionally, right, to its host. A woman has a womb for a reason. She was designed to create life in a specific way, and that's where babies live. They're not a parasite. They're not draining the resources to the detriment of their host. So the whole parasite argument is absolutely ridiculous and a low IQ talking point.
Talk to you about something very
I can't
quickly.
let you get past that. Are you
I'm
saying
sorry.
saying a baby is a disease or a tumor?
A parasite is not a disease and a tumor. Those are not the same thing. A
A
parasite is
parasite-
defined as something that cannot survive outside of its host. A baby, before it is viable, cannot survive outside of a woman's womb.
Got it. So let's
Therefore,
extrapolate that.
It is not a living organism.
Are
If it's not a living organism, how is it growing? That's it's just so easy to counter that talking point. Well, it's not living. If it's not living, how is it growing? Easy. Plain and simple.
old people with Alzheimer's and dementia that are being assisted every day, are they parasites?
No, they're not parasites. They're human beings who are on the brink of death.
Got it. So my
They're not going to be
my
able to survive.
4-month-old that requires mom's breast milk and requires daily changes and feedings cannot survive without its own. Is my 4-month-old a parasite?
I don't necessarily like this argument because once a baby is born, it doesn't necessarily need its own birth mother to survive, right? Like any woman who is breastfeeding, it can survive on formula, it can survive with other people beside the birth parents raising it and taking care of it, right? So I don't necessarily like this argument of bringing up the 4-month-old baby once it's born. The Alzheimer's patient is a good and better argument, or someone who's on an iron lung or something like that. That person is not allowed to survive on its own without the outside and technological benefits of something else, right? So someone who's in an iron lung or someone who's on a ventilator is purely relying on that ventilator or iron lung to keep that person alive.
Your baby can breathe on its own. Your baby can drink water from its mouth to its stomach.
But it cannot.
baby
can
can
it
eat
hunt?
food.
Can it gather? Can it reason?
But that's not what qualifies something as being a
okay, so
living organism.
then
Being
let's
a
get
living
back to
organism
terms.
simply means, can you survive outside of a womb, outside of your host?
Got it. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. Why does that then equate to moral viability?
It equates to scientific viability.
Why? Under what standard?
Because it is not alive. And you
If it's not alive, how is it growing? How can something not be alive for 9 months in the womb and start as a embryo to zygote to fetus, then to baby? If it's not going through the stages of if it's not alive, how is it going through the stages of development? These people are retarded. This girl is retarded. So I don't want to expose you people to this much retardation that you will become retarded on your own. So we're going to skip forward to the next girl, and who is probably the most annoying of the group. We don't need to, stick to these guys. Not really. This kid talks too much. Let's get to the next and final moron. Oh, Marin.
How are you? Nice to see you.
So I just have one question. There's like in any case, you don't think there's any case where abortion should be legal?
There's a
No.
very, very rare couple cases.
Okay, so you do
Where-
think
hold
that
on
a
one
couple
second.
cases.
Already, this is annoying. This is so annoying. Shut up. Let me answer your question.
Hold
It
on.
is legal.
If cesarean section is not going to save the mother's life, and the mother's life is actually at risk, which is debated amongst growing numbers of OBGYNs,
Okay.
that is the only case where abortion should be
Do you
allowed.
think there?
I don't even know that. I think, I guess to a certain extent, I kind of agree. But I think if you polled women who have children and asked them if in the case we couldn't get the baby out alive, even through C-section, even through anything, and it was going to kill you, and if the baby was going to kill you, or no, I guess hold on, let me work back through that logic. If we don't remove this baby, it's going to kill you. No, is that even the right logic? We have to remove this baby. I think here's the question. If we remove this baby, it will kill you. We can get the baby out safe, but it will kill you. I think if you polled most mothers with children, they would probably pick the option of giving up their lives for their children. I know my wife would, because she's told me so. So I think even in those rare cases, which they love to do, they love to bring up the 2% of cases to justify all the other cases. 90 more than I think 96 or 97% of all abortions are abortions of convenience. Either, the person claims that she doesn't have enough money to raise the baby, she's destitute, she's working, she doesn't have time, all that other kind of stuff. She doesn't want it. That's the main cause of abortion. It's just convenience. I don't want this child. And then you have like the 1% of cases that are, rape and incest, where you don't murder another human being due to the sins of its father. If anything, you advocate for the life of the child and for justice for the injured party, right? So, okay, let's get past this.
But people say it is a growing consensus in the pro-life world that abortion is never medically necessary.
Okay. So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped, and she was
Well,
going to
I-
give birth,
I
and
do
she
have
would
a
no wait.
daughter.
Oh, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live.
Okay, same with Charlie. I do have a daughter.
Would you want her to go through that and carry her
Well,
rapist baby?
that's awfully graphic.
And that's all that they do. They use these personal what do they call them? Sorry, they use these personal hypotheticals to try and get you emotional. And I would simply say, yeah, I would advocate for the life of my grandchild, and I would advocate for justice for my daughter. Now, that's what it is. Ultimately, I hope that I raised my daughter well enough that if anything as horrible as this ever happened to her, that she has a loving family that will help her raise this child. There are thousands, if not millions, of people who exist in the world today who are products of, these horrible circumstances that are born into the world. Are they less worthy as people to be alive? I don't think so. So that's what they do. They try to use every excuse and the rare excuses to try and justify murder. That's all they do.
But it's a real life
Okay,
scenario
well,
that happens
calm
to
down.
many
The
people.
answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
But let me tell you,
Oh, it's insane that you would advocate for the life of your grandchild. These murder apologizing bitches, I cannot stand them. And the way that she says it is so absolutely patronizing, and it's so absolutely ridiculous. Look at her face, like, oh, okay, you want people to live? I can't stand these people. I don't hate them. I honestly wish that they would open their eyes to the things that they're saying.
Why? No, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
And look, you have another demon. You know, let's go back to this. Look, you have the demon
Great. So
spouting off.
that's insane.
But let me tell you why. No, hold on. Let me ask you.
Demon spouting. Absolute demon. Absolute demon. Like, why even bother talking to these people? You're not gonna change their hearts.
Two questions. There's 2 ultrasounds I have. One is a baby conceived in. One is a baby conceived by a loving couple. Which one is which?
Your daughter was
which
probably
person here was
hopefully
which person
conceived
here?
by a
Which
somewhat
person here
loving
was
couple.
conceived by? Tell me which one was conceived by.
That's actually a good point that Charlie brings up with the ultrasounds. I like that.
I don't know.
Exactly, because it's all human rights
But
and it's all
that
human
doesn't
beings.
matter.
So
It's about your
do-
daughter who's has to give
no.
birth to it and is going to be tortured by that
Hold
for
on
the
a second.
rest of her
You-
life.
you are
That's
not-
going to take away every
Hold on a
freedom
second.
she's ever going to have.
Well, hold on.
That's going
Every
to ruin
freedom.
her life. She's going
You
to
know
grow
what?
up and she's going to be
Abortion is not a
attached to another
victimless
thing.
crime. The point is how you were conceived is irrelevant. What human rights you get.
But-
Hold on one second. If a person conceived in walks on the side of the street, it's not like they don't get First Amendment rights or Second Amendment rights.
It's
or
not
Fourth
about
Amendment
that
rights.
person.
The worst thing to do to the daughter.
You see, it's not about that person. It's never about the person. It's always about how the pro-abort is feeling about it. It's always about them. They would want less people walking around anyway. So, I mean, why not get rid of all the people who are conceived in rape and incest?
Is to then say, hey, we're going to go murder the being inside of you?
They wouldn't even know. Like, listen.
They wouldn't know?
Listen.
But wouldn't it
No,
be
no.
a better story
No,
to say
it
something
wouldn't.
evil happened and we do something good in the face of
No.
evil? And
Yeah, you don't continue the cycle of trauma. You don't continue the cycle of violence in order to prevent or stop or heal trauma or violence. No, you do good. Like Charlie says, this is a good point.
instead of saying we're going to do evil and then murder the being because we're going to pander to the evil. No, what makes the West great is that we do good after evil, not evil after evil.
It's not about the being in the cells.
No,
it's not about. No. I'm
I know.
speaking. No, I'm speaking.
we're both-
No, I'm
we're both
speaking.
clumps
No,
of
I'm
cells.
speaking. No,
We're-
I'm
we're both
speaking.
clumps
No,
of
I'm
cells.
speaking.
They did the whole clump of cell things. It's about the clump of cells. They try to dehumanize the baby in the womb at whatever stage of development. They just want to call it a clump of cells so that they can make the excuses for murdering it. And then this annoying, pandering, low IQ woman, if you want to call her that, does the Kamala Harris routine.
No, I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking.
Want to say it one more time?
No, I'm
She sounds like a toddler. And I know this because I have a toddler who does this sort of thing, who just repeats themselves over and over and over again until they get the attention or they get the desired outcome of what they're complaining about.
speaking.
Got it.
Thank you. So it's not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
No,
about
I
the
know you
person.
don't care about them.
No. I'm talking.
Even this guy, even the dude with the nub, the little progressive nub guy, even he is feeling the cringe of this woman. And that's why, the whole idea is if the person is speaking and you don't like how he or she is defending that size, you can raise your flag. And I think if they get 11 flags, someone else can step in.
Talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy. I am not talking about the cells. I don't
the
care. No,
cells.
listen. The fetus, the whatever. I don't care about that right
Of course she doesn't care about the baby in the womb. Of course she doesn't. She's a pro-abortion murdering whore. Of course she doesn't care about it.
now
Whatever.
until it is
Wow.
formed.
When does it become formed?
If there is a 5-year-old child who is pregnant and the baby
Okay.
is 2 weeks in
5-year-olds
utero,
can't get pregnant.
actually
Okay.
they have given birth. There is
5-year-olds have given pregnant.
There
I
is
stand
one.
corrected.
There is
Look at the graphic. Lena Medina Peru gave birth via C-section at 5 years old. The father's identity is unknown. The pregnancy was possible because she was sexually developed, which some call precocious puberty. Yeah, that doesn't really happen all that much, if ever. So, like I said, bringing up the rare case to support the regular and usual makes absolutely no sense. This 5-year-old one time, and it usually happens like once out of, I don't know, a billion times. We're going to use this case to set a precedent to murder your kids whenever you want.
one recorded case of a
Okay, I
5-year-old
stand
girl who
corrected.
gave birth.
Is that common?
Yes, it's common. 5-year-olds get sometimes, and it's
Okay,
if they get
if
pregnant,
5-year-olds
I
get
think they should be
pregnant, then-
able to have medical access to something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many? I'm curious. How
I
many,
hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Like, it's just, what do you do that? Like, just these rancorous, coiffed old sows, this woman, Lord help whoever she marries, whoever she dates, because it's not going to last very long. These women are so self-absorbed. They don't care about anything else. And she said as much. She doesn't care about anything else.
Okay, so that is really nasty. And so her belief system, just so we're clear, is that
The Gen Z female population is just so pro murder, it seems. And I know that there are plenty of anti abortion and pro life women within the same generation, but for whatever reason, these people are made more prominent. And I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how to react to it other than just highlighting these people and saying that we need to admonish them more in public. We need to rebuke them more in public. And it's not in such a way that there's animosity and that they hate us, but it has to be done from a place of love because we're ultimately saying, we love you. We love the babies that you want to have. Unfortunately, these people, which it is an emotional subject, but these people get so over emotional about it where they can't suspend their emotions from just logical thinking. They can't suspend it from the pure facts of biology, where what's growing inside you is an actual living human growing being that will one day not be inside you anymore. But the justification for you murdering that living human being is convenience. It's nothing else. It's nothing more than your selfishness. It's nothing more than your narcissism. And it's nothing more than your murderous intent. So thank you everybody for watching. I know this wasn't as in-depth as I would have liked it to have been, but I felt I needed to talk about it. And yeah, thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you next time.